Texas Metal Show. I'm your host, John fucking Winningham, and right now we're at Rudyards British Pub in the Heights. We are attending a secret listening party for the new Doomstress EP, and soon we're going to have a couple of interesting people come up and give you their opinions on what they've heard, and maybe play a little bit of music for you.
Hi.
Hello. How are you guys?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. I'm John.
Hey, John. Diana.
Diana, nice to meet you.
Trish.
Trish, nice to meet you.
Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Good to meet you.
Who are y'all with?
Mydolls.
Which is not at all
It's a punk band.
That's okay. We've been branching out. I've been listening to a couple of hardcore punk bands. A little bit more on the extreme side, though. A little bit more on the heavy side recently. But I'm not against talking to punkers and like playing punk music. We try to embrace everything. I like the Dead Kennedys and the Misfits. I mean, that's about as punk as I've gotten, but I didn't have a lot of that punk influence. So, what was your band's name again?
Mydolls.
And tell me a little bit about y'all.
I'm a guitar player and singer, and
I'm the bass player.
I'm Trish, and she's the bass player. We've been around since 1978, and we were always DIY, and just like Doomstress, just making your way in the world. And we had our own label with a cooperative called CIA Records with Really Red and Culture Side, which Culture Side's singer has a show at the Contemporary Arts Museum right now. His name is Mark Flood. You might want to go check that out. It's a really good
Subversive
art show.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And we're going to be actually doing a panel and a performance there on the 28th of July.
So, what did you guys think of the new Doomstress EP?
Oh my God, I love heavy metal. And I love Uriah Heep, and I love her.
You're talking to the right person.
She's totally the most beautiful spirit ever.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I was introduced to Project Armageddon a couple of years ago. My good buddy Andrew, who's standing right here, he always went to these local metal shows. And for a couple of years, he's like, John, you have to go to these metal shows, come to these metal shows. And I would just never go. I'm kind of a homebody sometimes, but in the last couple of years, I've done real good to get out of the house. We go to a lot of shows now. And we went into a benefit for the Grace Place, I believe, with the Doomstress, and Project Armageddon came on, and it was just this amazing Doom, and I'm a big Doom metal guy, and then I fell in love. So, like, really, if it wasn't for Alexis and Project Armageddon, the Texas Metal Show probably wouldn't exist, because they really started me going to local shows.
The genesis, the seed was planted.
Yeah, and it's been 2 years,
got you
and
pregnant.
yeah, she did, and it's still growing, and I don't think it's ever gonna stop. So, where can I get a hold of y'all's music? Like, where can I listen to some of y'all's stuff?
We have a website. It's Mydolls Music, and we're also on Facebook under Mydolls Music, and we're on Twitter under Mydolls Music. It's MYDOLLS Music, and we're in Wikipedia, and so you can find us under Texas Punk and Texas Music, pretty much on Wikipedia or online. And what else do we have? We have Twitter, Mydolls Music.
Yeah.
So
We're also in another band called No Love Less, and that's another sort of punk band.
So, okay,
Super fun.
what inspired both of you to make punk music? I mean, it sounds like you guys have been doing it.
Well, actually,
quite
we're
some
sitting in our
time.
apartment right now. We used to live above Rudyards.
Okay.
In 1978, whenever punk finally hit Texas, because we really, it started like, I guess with the MC5. I don't know when it really started, but
Iggy.
and so it didn't really hit down here until 2 years after it was going. And so we were roommates, and we started hanging out at this club. There was actually a club downstairs at Rudyards. What was it called? It was a biker club. There was called something else, High Noon Saloon. And we saw Culture Side and Plastic Idols and some like really weird old punk bands, and we're like, hey, we could probably do that. Why don't we do a band? And
Of course,
so-
I've never played anything.
Yeah, and I've been playing guitar, so like I learned how to play guitar. So I was like, oh, I'll show you, and like we just started playing. We didn't know what the fuck.
And so here's
Most of
what,
us don't. We don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, we're total fucking amateurs, and we love it
so-
though.
it's so
Oh my
great.
god, it is absolutely fantastic.
fun?
So 30 some odd years later, you're still fucking kicking ass
Yeah,
and playing
38
music.
years.
Wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
That's fucking
Yeah.
amazing.
And we're all still friends. We still like each other.
Oh
Wow,
wow.
that's amazing.
The same band members were still alive.
Well, I'll definitely check you guys out.
Yeah, we play a lot. Like we play a lot with all ages and a lot of different. We don't just stick with like, oh, those are our old punk rock friends. Although we cherish them because they've stuck with us and they're our tribe forever. But there's a newly developed tribe of younger people that
Their energy is so
incredible.
great.
Back when
Loving
punk first started rolling through, that energy, I feel like it's coming.
It is exactly.
It's coming full circle.
Yeah.
DIY is coming full circle. Because I mean, honestly, it's just like with writing. You have to know somebody to know somebody to know somebody. And like, if you're just like kind of unknown and you decide to do a band or something, unless you're just like plugging away at corporate, like trying to play House of Blues and corporate sort of venues, then you're never going to break into like just listen to my record because they get millions of them a day.
Right, and
You know,
how do
so
they differentiate you from
DIY is
anybody
the
else?
next step.
And that was really popular. I remember listening to Henry Rollins. Apparently, at some point in time in like the early '80s, there was like this feud between Venom, which is one of the more famous black quote unquote metal bands out there, and the Black Flag, I believe. Is that correct? They toured together, and they were all very do-it-yourself, no roadies, setting up. And then like there was this feud between Kronos, the lead singer of Venom, and Henry Rollins, where they were like, "Fuck you, old guys, you got roadies," and like we're doing this. And so like that's a spirit that apparently has been around for a really long time.
Yeah.
As far as I know, I'm not
We
well
take
versed in
back
that
to
kind of
Black
thing.
Flag, Pre-Henry Rollins.
Pre-Henry Rollins.
Yeah, so I mean, after that, I don't know.
Yeah, the only Houston punk that I've listened to is this Giant Kitty. We saw them here a couple of times, and they're great. I love listening to their music.
Yeah, they're
They're
super
super good.
fun.
No Love Less, we
Really
got to
good.
play with them one night. It was really
At Barbarella, that was
super fun.
Well, I've been to Barbarella one time, and I didn't think it was going to be my thing. I'm a big metalhead, and I ended up having I had an excellent time. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to embrace this kind of dancey pop thing that's going on and get drunk and try to dance with people. And you know what? It was a lot of fun. I actually had a great time.
You know what? And that's actually one of the things I love is the idea of putting shows together that are way different genres.
We've been talking
A
about
bunch of
that.
cross-genre shows are so much fun.
Within the metal community, you go to a Doom show, or you go to a death metal show, which might incorporate a little bit of black metal or black and thrash, and then you go to a thrash metal show. You don't hardly ever go to a show that has a thrash band and a black metal band and a death metal band and a doom metal band, and I hate that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, we went to a stoner doom show last night, kinda, and it was fucking amazing. We had a really good time, but you kind of end up having, I don't want to say everybody sounds the same, because obviously if you think that, you're not paying close enough attention to the music, but I would love to see some kind of diversity. We saw Project Armageddon play with a death metal band called Spectral Manifest,
Yes.
and it was really cool to see a death metal band come on after a doom metal band. Like, it was really neat to see that mix. So cross genre is where it's at. That's what we would
Yes.
love to promote, cross
Well, we were
genre.
talking about that in early Houston. Like, we didn't have the separation of the arts like we have now. Like, you would have like a poetry slam along with a punk band, along with somebody,
performance art.
performance art, along with everybody was kind of combined in the artwork. I mean, the more cutting edge type work sort of come together. I mean, like, you probably hardly ever saw a blues band and a punk band play together. But you would see the same sort of cutting edge, sort of different arts together. And over the years, Houston's gotten so big as far as the art scene, and a lot of it's corporate funded now, that it's more separated.
And that's no fun for anybody.
I'm hoping that changes, because it really was fun to see like visual arts mixed in with audio arts. And, yeah, it's really cool.
Well, I mean, they're all artists. Of course, you support each other.
Right. And it was, that's
Well,
what
at least
we did.
you would hope
And
that
we
you would all support each other.
It happened once.
There
But
was a
is
time.
there a story behind that? There's a one singular event.
But part of it was there were venues that really supported that, like Lawndale Art Annex. I mean, where it brought all of that together, and and then people would work on projects together.
Oh yeah, and diverse work. So it used to be on
Almeida Arts Project.
Almeida Arts Project. So there was a lot of diversity.
Well, that might be a good idea.
Well,
it's fun.
we have some long-term plans for the show. We have long-term plans and short-term plans, and hopefully in 2017 we'd like to start booking our own live shows, so where you could come see the Texas Metal Show and it be 3 or 4 live bands at Rudyards or wherever. And we would like to do a little bit of everything, kind of mix it up the best that we can, and kind of get away from this like, oh, BFE plays death metal and down south we've got more of like the death grind, and then over here we have doom. I'd like to see everybody intermingling. Maybe that's delusional,
Maybe have
but
some like visual arts, like have like 20-minute video weirdness in between, or some weird punk rock people doing poems,
Or even showcasing just the
Yeah,
amazing
definitely.
visual artistry that is a part of the metal
course.
scene.
We could have vendors.
Like, incredible.
look at Kyler.
Oh.
Between like the posters and the T-shirts and just the designs are
I mean,
amazing.
when you think about Insane Clown Posse and how like everyone thinks that they're like a gang and everything, all they've done is cut out corporations. That's the only thing they're guilty of. And so they're a threat because they're so giant, right?
Yeah,
And they
they're
still
the
are.
And we could do that, but it doesn't have to be, when the discussion of Insane Clown Posse and their, I don't know what they're called.
Juggalos.
Juggalos.
Yes.
So they're
Very popular when I was in high school.
Deal is they do it themselves. It's a DIY outfit, just like what we are doing by putting out our own records, and they don't want that. Corporations don't want
And
that.
having podcasts.
They don't want you to do that. That's bad.
But we're going to do it. We're going to make it better than the people who are getting paid millions of dollars to do it.
Right, because you bring something
Prostitutes
that's
and hoes.
can't make money off of us.
Yeah.
We're making our own money.
And some
Well,
of us don't even.
hopefully
We're not making
one
any
day.
Because, thank God that we get to do this, and that we have audiences, and that we get to do this, because you guys allow us to do this.
Well, maybe we can work together someday in the future. That would be absolutely fantastic.
Come to our show on the 28th of July.
got
It's
you written
actually at the CAM. It's at 6:30 to 8 o'clock.
which isn't a very punk rock time of the
No,
day.
it's a
but
Thursday
Well,
night.
you take what you can get, right?
We're gonna have a panel discussion. We're gonna have archival display, and then we're playing for 30 minutes.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
You guys have my card.
At the Contemporary
Please
Arts Museum.
get in contact with me and let's
Yeah.
do something.
Yeah.
Let's make something work. That sounds absolutely
Yeah, and
fantastic.
Stuff in Wikipedia, and you get our bio and where to reach us and stuff.
Great.
there.
Thank you very much for sitting down and
So
talking
nice
to us.
to
It was
meet
wonderful to
And
meet
thank
you all
guys
too.
for coming out, and congratulations.
Thank you.
You're very pretty. In case our listeners need to know.
Yeah, we'll post pictures on the episode.
And congratulations to Doomstress. And
Thank
that's
you.
fantastic
Congratulations,
record.
I know, I'm
and
so excited for her.
We love her. Amazing. Thank you guys.
Thank you again. All right, now we're sitting down with Tobin from the Independent Rock Fest that's coming to Houston.
October 22nd in Old Town Spring, just 5 minutes north of Houston. It's like Spring Cypress exit, man. It's a really, really easy access to get out there. Cool little vintage town, perfect for a psych fest.
Yeah, I think there's even a satanic temple somewhere in that town.
There definitely is.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to have to stop and look at that, even though we don't embrace any one religion on this show, but personally it's a different story. So, what did you think of the new Doomstress EP that we're listening to today?
Doomstress EP, man, that stuff's just awesome. Like her vocals are it's killing. There's so much groove, like the whole stoner feel. Actually, good harmonization. Doomstress has some killer vocals.
She's always had that good harmonization, that good strong middle in her voice.
Yeah,
it's very
it's
fantastic.
a really great continuous flow of her vocals. There's no splits in it. She does
No.
a great job.
She's got good control, good that. I don't know what you call it. Never mind.
So, she's been real secretive about it. Sometime earlier this year, maybe in February, she sent me a message and she was like, "Hey, John, we're doing this thing. Can't tell you very much about it because I don't have a lot of details, but she's like, we're doing a thing. And don't worry, it's going to be badass." And so when I was like, well, fuck. She got a hold of me for a reason. And then I find out they disappear off to... I think it was
Ohio.
Was it Ohio?
She
Yeah,
was gone in Ohio.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
disappeared off to
Cleveland,
Ohio for a few months.
And I thought they decided to like branch off and go become foodies because all I saw on fucking
It was
Facebook
all the-
was
yeah, on
Brandon
Facebook.
posting food, and I'm like,
So she didn't really give us a whole lot of information at first, which makes sense. Obviously, she doesn't want it to leak out there. And then when we came in today and they put on the EP and they played the Uriah Heep cover of Rainbow Demon, I was like, oh, holy shit.
that.
Because for me personally, like, I love Uriah Heep. I was like
Without a
14,
doubt.
15 years old when I first got a copy of that Demons and Wizards, that album. And I was like, holy shit, this is fucking amazing. So when they played that cover, I was just absolutely blown away. And the little kid in me got way fucking excited because I had no idea that it was coming. But anyway,
It's always awesome when you get some cult classics up in there, and you're just like, okay, that's badass.
especially when you're not expecting it, because I was expecting like
unexpected is
100% original material, and then they blow us away with an amazing cover like that. Why don't you go over a little bit more what the Independent Music Festival is about, maybe some of the bands you guys have on the lineup, how
Yeah,
people can
definitely.
find out more information with what you're doing.
Well, to start off, everything today is like social media based. So we have wristbands out that actually have our hashtag #IntipEndit. What we did is we love language, and we also like to put a twist on words. So #IntipEndit it's independent. What that means to us is we're actually independent artists, promoters. I've been promoting shows for the last 15 years now. Got real deep into did most of my groundwork in the hardcore punk, thrash scenes in the Texas Gulf Coast scene. So that meant a lot to us because now every single major festival that's coming out, it's definitely corporate driven. A lot of times it just seems like there's the people that put things together aren't actually people who listen to music. Well, they know how to run numbers.
we were just talking about being
They know how to
corporate.
run numbers.
And the one thing that gets me is, so there's like this big Houston metal festival coming, or I don't know what the fuck
Open
it's
air.
called. The big Houston Open Air that's coming at the end of the
On the
year.
record, Dynamo Open Air died in '95 in Europe.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to copy it?
So we get this announcement, and I see it on Facebook, and people are like, fuck yeah, we're getting this open air in Houston, it's going to be amazing. And I look at the lineup, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? People were saying things like, this is a festival that metalheads want. And I was like, well, this is
No.
like kind of a festival that kind of metalheads might kind of want.
I think there's 5 bands on there I want to say.
5.
Yeah, we were
like
like
Slayer,
between
Ghost,
3 and 5.
Anthrax, Mothership's on there now.
I would kind of like to see the Cult.
The people...
Cult would be cool.
The people that are putting on this festival, how many of them are involved in like the Houston metal scene, or like know what metalheads like me or you or anyone want?
Exactly.
And I was super disappointed by the lineup. And you know what? If you're excited for the show, awesome. I hope you go and have a wonderful time. But for me personally, I was a little let down. I love Ghost. Obviously, I'm not a huge Slayer fan, but I will go see Slayer because they are classic.
They play the same show every time they play.
That's why we're not going to see
that's
Black
a-
Sabbath.
That's a great example of what we found a necessity. Like there's a necessity to create this scene, And what we did is, as we're at Psych Fest, there's all these subgenres. I mean, you have Radio Moscow. They're coming in from San Diego. You have Mondo Drag coming in from Oakland.
We saw them live
Yes.
a couple of months ago, and they were
Pentagram?
yes, with Pentagram. That was an
Yes.
excellent
Yes,
I
show.
saw Radio Moscow open for Graveyard. And
Graveyard.
Fitzgerald's.
Radio
That was a good
Moscow. I actually was out of town on that one, but yeah, the Radio Moscow Graveyard show. It's a great thing.
Fitzgerald's. I wish.
So we have
Graveyard
bands
come
like that style. Well, then we also go into like Wofat. We have Dirty Seeds. We have Doomstress on there.
Right.
That's also more of like your stoner, your doom metal. We have eclectic acts like Golden Dawn Orchestra, which people need to be probably tripping when they see them. It was just perfect. We have KP and the Boom Boom. People in Houston are probably familiar with the Suffers. This is Austin Suffers, and they're psych. They're a psych soul collective. It's
And I
really
enjoy
awesome.
that stuff.
You guys have Ganesha. Ganesha's playing on the
Ganesha's
bill,
on there,
right?
yeah,
and
exactly.
it's some people hopefully listening to the show are familiar with the dudes from Ganesha. I do believe they're from Pasadena, and we saw them live here the first time we saw them
Shout
live
out to
here.
Ricky D
Dude,
and Sammy.
Yeah.
yeah, Noe, dude, those guys. I see Sammy we go to a hardcore death metal show, and Sammy is fucking there, which is great because if you listen to Ganesha, it's so far removed from that style of music. But this dude loves heavy metal.
Oh, without a doubt.
We've had a little bit of
I
bad
gotta
luck
say-
getting them on the show, but we're gonna keep trying, and you're gonna get an episode with Ganesha. I fucking promise.
Oh, they're really cool dudes. I don't know. Whenever I listen to it, it's like you guys take the Grateful Dead and mix it with Sleep. Like
Yeah.
you all did.
Or Blood Moon Rising.
Yeah.
There's a perfect example of that right fucking there. So what? You have a partner.
Yeah.
What was the? Hold on. How am I? Having a hard time phrasing this for some reason. I'm not even that drunk. You guys got together at some point where you were like, man, we need to do a festival that's different than all these other non-existent festivals because there's no fucking such thing as a festival in Houston. There's one or two real small festivals like Bayou Doomfest that comes through. But what was your inspiration to do something different than what everybody else was doing? Why did you say, hey man, we're going to put this on in
I think different wise is like, some of the bands I mentioned, they're definitely different. They're not bands you normally see on the same show. They kind of be categorized as our psych bands. And what we saw is like, hey, well, first of all, to make Houston bigger, like with the local scene wise, you need bands that are from different genres, like actually supporting the other bands. We wanted to see like a unification, like this community. More so though a necessity. We actually have the means to host a festival like this. There's a lot of work and a lot of money that actually has to go into it.
You and I personally have discussed a little bit about what it takes monetarily to run a festival like this, and it is astounding.
Absolutely. We're bringing in 4 stages, so there's 37 bands in total.
Woo!
And we're bringing in 3 stages. We're bringing in some nice professional stages with production, the whole 9 yards. It's everything from getting the land, to signing the contracts on the land, to getting vendors out there, having the parking. You're paying for parking lots. Promotion wise, we're going the whole 9 yards on this whole promotion. We're really we pushed a little bit already, but we're going to start here. Dar and I are going to start. I think within the next 10 days, and you're going to start seeing this everywhere, from the internet to out in the streets. And it's going to be in Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, Corpus Christi, even places in Beaumont, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Little Rock, Arkansas. We have outlets. We're pushing this. We're pushing this for everyone.
From what I know a little bit about the lineup, I've seen a little bit online. This is definitely a show worth traveling for.
Yes.
This lineup is absolutely fantastic, and you guys still have some secret names that haven't been announced yet.
Yeah, we have about 7 bands. Well, from the lineup, there's actually 14 bands that are still needing to be added to that. But, we've added Crit Trip from San Marcos.
Oh, I just actually have been made aware of them, and they were a serious contender for our Texas Metal Radio 4 Southern Haze. I ended up cutting them off the bill for my own personal reasons, not because their music isn't great. But those guys are absolutely fucking
Crit
fantastic.
Trip, we have Foxmore Express. Great psych band out of Austin. They're added, but the big names are going to be, drawn on here within the next 10 days. So, and we got some pretty awesome acts that really fine tune.
Get us some flyers. Get us some.
We have some flyers made, but we're really waiting to make this final push because we're making ourselves some double-sided flyers. It's gonna have everything from our sponsors on there. We're making actually like food truck flyers.
That's badass.
There'll be 8 local food trucks there. Because our whole vision was, it's not just for music.
Do you
There's
have
local breweries,
the chicken and waffle food truck coming?
the chicken and waffle
I can't
one.
exactly remember what it's called, but they have a chicken and waffle food truck in Houston where you can get these badass chicken and waffle
The truck's red.
sandwiches.
The truck's red, and I cannot remember the name of it. But no, that one's great.
Oh, they're so good. It's always out. I see it near Fitzgerald's. Several times going to Fitzgerald's, I've seen that truck. And if you see the chicken and waffle truck, you stop and you buy the chicken and waffle.
Well, you
Yeah,
gotta
that
have to have
one's
food
great.
trucks. You got stoners.
Where can people who are listening to the show right now, assuming anyone is actually listening to it, where can they find out information about the independent music festival?
Well, I think one of the best spots is just go back old school. We actually have a website, and our website's constructed pretty well. There's little things that need still worked on it, but it's our Endhip, ENDHIP, ENDIT.com. We have all of our information on there. It's a very user-friendly website. You can actually go in there, and as you hover over the bands, it has direct links. It gives a description of their style, and it has direct links to to all their music.
That's awesome. That's
yeah,
a lot of work.
And it has a lot of frequently asked questions on there. Anything you need to know about our festival, it's on there. And as we keep going and progressing with it, more and more information will be available on there.
Great.
Including our ticket sales.
Tobin, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. And we don't have to put this on this part doesn't have to go on the show, but we've talked before. I would like to start plugging your festival on every episode we do until it comes out.
Yep.
right, so we're sitting here with Tomas and Scott from the Dirty Scenes. We've just listened to the new Doomstress EP, and we're all really giddy and excited and maybe just a little bit inebriated. So, gentlemen, why don't you tell me how you felt about this excellent music we just heard?
Oh, it's great stuff. I can't wait to see them do it live. I know they're going up Midwest and Northeast first, so it'll be a while before we see them around this part. So I'm just stoked to check it out.
I mean, I don't want to say they were like
in my face.
they're like fuck you,
Brandon's
Texas,
guitar.
but I kind of feel like we got a little fuck you, Texas.
Well, I think what they have to do is their new drummer is from up there.
Right.
The drummer for the band, so I think they're going to go up there and support his other band as part of their tour is why they're starting there. I do know that they're going to be down here for the End Hip Ending.
Yeah, we
Festival.
just
So they're gonna
talked to
play
Tobin
that.
about that.
They are going to play that show, so we will get to see him at minimum then.
Excellent. That was a great show last night. I
You
had
guys,
a lot of fun.
It was absolutely fantastic. Tomas, what was your favorite song off the new Doomstress EP? If you need the names, I have them right
I do
here.
not know what the names are. I mean, I kind of feel bad because it's a cover, but I really like the
We were
Wicked,
just
Wicked
talking about
Woman.
that,
Like
yeah.
that Coven cover was badass.
Honestly, Rainbow Demon, which is the other cover, and I also hate to say it, but you know, Uriah Heep hits a special
But
spot
I mean,
for me.
they do it right. You know, you do a cover. A lot of bands will do a cover and just play it note for note exactly like it is. And it's like, well, why are you even doing the cover? Like,
Exactly.
Brandon just walks up here. You know, they made the cover.
Brandon from Project Armageddon, Doomstress has joined us.
Howdy, I'm drunk.
I was one morning I'm at work and sometimes I listen to Rod Ryan in the morning and.
Why do you do that to yourself?
Well, because I
Sometimes
do.
it's
I
funny.
enjoy his show sometimes, not often. And he's talking about this Stone Sour cover of "Ride the Lightning" by Metallica, and he's like, "This cover is so good. And I can't get enough." Of course, he's paid to. Obviously, he's paid to say this.
Right.
And they play the cover, and I listen to the cover, and my initial thought was, "This sounds exactly like the fucking original, but with Corey Taylor on vocals." And like you just said, what the fuck is the point of covering a song if you're going to play it
It's karaoke.
exactly? Yeah,
It's
who gives a
karaoke.
shit?
Like,
make it your own. Thank you. Make
Like,
it your own.
One of my favorite covers that anyone's done, Fu Manchu doing Blue Oyster Cult's Godzilla. Like
Oh,
just
yeah.
just slowed it down and doomed it out, and man, it's just so cool. It's so cool. I think I might actually like that better than the original.
Scott,
Yes.
what was your favorite song off the new Doomstress EP?
Way of the Mountain, but secretly I got to hear it a couple of times before the release today. So
Oh wait, how did you
I think
get?
we heard it
You know,
before.
I think there was a video release, and I have listened to that one.
So, yeah, that one I've heard a few times. I don't want to name a number because I can't right now, but
It's a secret, Scott. Shh.
you know,
Yes,
ask
don't
me the
say
same
anything.
question in a month or so after I've listened.
Right, you need to get a good
How do we
feel
turn
for
the
it.
microphone off? Can we turn the microphone?
There's a mute button right here. I just
And
hit
then-
it.
and
We
then
don't have to
we
listen
can tell all
to
the
it.
secrets about what we might or might not.
You know what's very funny is I have that same thought in my head when you're talking between songs sometimes.
Just go over
you
there and
should.
unplug
As
his
you
mic.
should.
How do we turn this mic off?
So what's on the horizon for the Dirty Seeds? Anything new going down since we last spoke? Which you
Which
guys
was last
are.
night.
Well, no. I meant we last spoke on the show. They don't know that we just saw you. Well,
I thought you guys wore wires and recorded everything, like whenever we always talk.
only when we work for the government.
Oh, okay. So we had our last show for a while last night at Fitzgerald's. Good time. Stone Machine Electric and Cadillac to Mexico from DFW came down. Then we're going to be out of commission until August. Our singer, Mr. David Ward, is going to Colombia to get married.
Ooh, congratulations, David. I wish you were here.
He is leaving on the 29th, and he'll come back early August, and then we'll start gigging again then. So when he's gone, me, Scott, and Chad, we're just going to jam, kick around new ideas. We have a few kind of skeletons of new songs that we've been slowly putting together, so we're just going to work on fleshing that out. And my goal, I haven't discussed this with the other three guys, but my goal is to be in the studio by the end of the year to record a new EP.
Oh, that's excellent news for me. Anyway, I'm very excited.
I feel like it's been too long since we put something new out. You know, we've had a couple of lineup changes. Chad on drums, now Scott on bass. So everyone's all on the same page, and we're firing and just you know all in sync. So it's time to get some new music out with these new guys.
Scott, as the new bassist for the Dirty Seeds, what's your experience been like? How do you feel? You're very tight on stage. You guys have done a really good job. Your stage presence is excellent.
So I have you fooled.
Yes, you are doing an amazing job.
You like the Snyderwind sway?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So here's the trick. The trick is all my F-ups happen at practice. Absolute terrible, and then I have it out by the time we hit the stage.
Yeah.
And once I have that great performance on stage, I go back to being a complete fuck up again through practice.
Well, what do you think you're bringing to the Dirty Seeds? I mean, you're new blood. What?
I'm bringing not throwing chicken wings at people.
Wait. Is there a chicken wing story? Oh.
We don't need a...
No chicken wings. We'll just pretend we didn't bring that up.
I think we all click really, really, really well. When they invited me to, you know how it is. It's like first date situation. We all get together and we go and we chat and we start jamming. I think within like an hour we knew this was going to be a great fit for all of us. I did because he had handed me the music about a week and a half before.
Yeah.
For me to listen to and jam to, and I was like, oh my god, this is the music that I've been looking to play for 10 years now. This is exactly what I want to play. Very, very jam heavy, no defined song length time. Just you go with the groove, and you add that onto the fact that they're just fun guys to hang out with, right? There's zero pretension in this band. As a matter of fact, the trick to get a free beer out of the Dirty Seeds is come and say, oh my god, I loved your set after we play.
Wait a minute, I say that a lot, and I have yet to receive a free beer.
I gave away a beer.
I think there's been several times I've said things like, oh, the Dirty Seeds, I hear those guys suck. But if you listen to our show regularly, and I assume there's one or two of you out there, you know that the Dirty Seeds are fucking fantastic, and I don't really believe that.
Free beer for John.
Bring me a beer, please. Somebody. So, you also play with a band called Vehement Burn,
yes.
Which we talked about on. I mentioned a little bit on the episode that I did with. Oh no, I lied. That was Texas Metal Radio 1.
Was it? Yes, it was
Texas Metal Radio 1.
News section.
Are you guys doing anything?
Yeah, the great thing about Vehement Burn is we don't play all that often. You got a bunch of guys that have families, and two of them own their own businesses. We play maybe 6-7 times a year. Fun to jam with. It's more on the hard rock, grazing on the stoner rock side. So it's that style of music, a little bit different than what the Dirty Seeds does. But it's a 3-guitar player lineup, so it's really thick with guitars at times.
Interesting.
When are we playing? July 29th, I think, is the next Vehement Burn show, and we're playing here. Hold on, my handy calendar. I'm juggling 2 bands now.
I hear a lot of, you see a lot of stuff on social media, be crying our use of technology, and technology is ruining society. Fuck off. I love being able to look at my phone and go, well, fuck, tonight I have 6 different shows to choose from. Who the fuck am I going to go see? And we have an interview scheduled tomorrow. So if you don't like technology and you're listening to the show, well, you probably wouldn't be listening because this is a podcast. Oh, well, put your old BlackBerry-looking thing away. I don't even know what that is.
There's not even a data plan for this phone.
Try to send him a picture, see what happens.
Yeah,
it'll explode. The phone will just be useless.
Look, it won't turn on right now because it's been in my pocket for too long, so it's overheating. So now that it's out.
And Tomas is showing us his 20-year-old phone or 10-year-old phone or something like that.
I'll check on when the shows are at home on my laptop.
And you said the Dirty Seed show we saw last night was the last Dirty Seed show for the next few months?
Until August 11th. We'll be up on the north side at Acadia. It's Dirty Seeds in the Burn, so Scott's going to be doing...
I can't. Double duty.
Yeah.
You better make sure you take a Rockstar nap that day.
I am going to take a very long Rockstar nap.
How excited are you guys to be playing the Independent Music Festival in October?
That is going to be incredible. I can't wait for that. WOFAT, Radio Moscow, The Well, it's going to be such a good day of music.
It's going to be an overload of fantastic music.
Yeah.
Orgasmic.
Yeah. Tobin and Dar have done a great job putting together. Just I'm blown away every time they announce someone new that they have on this festival. That we're getting something like that here in Houston. It's not commercial. You're not getting Rick Ross and whoever coming to play at Summerfest. It's good stoner psych, just pure rock and roll, doing music the right way. It's gonna be great.
Put on by 2 guys in the scene. nonetheless.
Oh yeah,
Right?
They know what they're doing.
They
like,
know
they know
exactly
what
what
you're
they're doing.
looking
They know-
for.
They're fitting the right bands together for this. You know, I'm ignoring him right now. But he's not going to be able to walk out the door. by the
Tobin
time
is
I'm
not standing to our right listening to this glorious praise we're laying down on his excellent music festival that I hope everyone listening to the
I
show...
just want to talk about 90s death metal.
Does that exist?
In the 90s. Listen to it.
If you go to Portland, you can still hear a little bit of 90s death metal. Anyway,
Get DeLorean ready.
Tomas, Scott, thank you very much
Thank
for talking
you.
to
Thanks
us.
for having us,
I hope to
man.
have you guys have a second Dirty Seeds episode sometime in the future because as of right now, you guys are still the #1 episode of the Texas Metal Show.
Why, thank you.
Sorry,
you.
Project Armageddon.
Thanks.
Yeah, take that, Project Armageddon.
Oh,
Bye, Brandon.
that was just crazy. Yeah.
Let me see if I can snag the Doom. What I need you to do into the microphone is go, and everyone's sucking their cocks. Just with a really good inflection. Just everyone's sucking their cocks. I love it. We were listening to Guar on the
We
on
listen
the
to
way
Guar
here.
frequently.
Well, I've been on a weird Guar kick recently. Where's my drink? I can't start another interview without a drink. Fuck
Wait
it.
till your ice melts.
There's alcohol in that ice, John.
I must
Merely
take
must
it.
extract it.
All right. Our next guests at the Doomstress secret listening party, which was blasted all over Facebook, so I'm not sure how secretive it actually was.
Public secret party.
There was an excellent turnout. We've got Maurice and Jan from Sanctus Bellum fame, and more recently, Blues Funeral, which you guys have just gotten done recording your first Blues Funeral album.
Is this a dildo?
That
Yes.
is a dildo.
It looks like a small penis.
Very
Yes.
penisy, and we do that to make some people feel uncomfortable. Well, you know, to me, no, it just depends on who you are. So, what did you guys think of the new Doomstress EP that is now dropped? Well, actually, we're the only ones that have it. Take that, listeners.
Until the end of the day.
And he told me that he put 4 together, 4 tracks, 2 with the single coil and 2 with his SG, and I really like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because he's standing right over my shoulder.
I'm just standing under the.
He's just monitoring the interview. No,
No,
guitar sound was
I will
fucking awesome.
scoot off this way then.
Sounds badass.
Goodbye, Brandon. We'll talk to you shortly.
Sounds badass.
No, the guitar tone's fucking thick and heavy. It's badass. It's everything that you want, like a Doom record like that. I think they're reimaginings of a couple classics, and particular less known classics. I mean, for us, Uriah Heep, that's our shit. We love that. But that's not necessarily a band that everybody talks about these days. So it's cool to see other people that are resurrecting those tunes from 60s and 70s. Coven is a band that you really never hear anybody talk about. And I'm a huge fan of Jinx Dawson, so I think Alexis was kind of signaling me during the listening party. She's like, "Now that cover's coming on, man." So
Pay
really,
attention.
really cool to hear them bring back some old school tunes like that and kind of bring awareness to that music.
I was really surprised to hear 2 covers on the EP. She's been real tight-lipped about it. Brandon, not so much, but he didn't give any details. He just kept commenting that something was happening. So when they put on the Rainbow Demon cover, I was like, well, we were all standing together. I was like, what the fuck? This is great. Like, I had no idea they were going to bring something like that to the table. And I was lucky enough, I started listening to Uriah Heep because my older brother brought home the Iced Earth Blind Guardian Demons and Wizards first album.
Yeah, they covered it.
And that I was like, Demons and Wizards, and of course went to the internet, and surely enough, this band called Uriah Heep's got this album called Demons and Wizards, and they were a big influence on, I could be wrong, John Schaefer of Iced Earth. And so I bought that record when I was like 15 or 16 years old from eBay for like $6, and I got the CD in the mail, and I was like, fuck yeah, this is great. My dad just making fun of me. Because, he was,
He's like, here's the real shit.
right? Jan,
Yes.
what did you think of the Doomstress EP? What are your, other than the amazing guitar tone, what was your favorite of the 4 songs? If you could even give me one at this point. It's hard after only one listen to really decide what you like the most.
The Uriah Heep cover was badass. I'd say probably go with that one because I really like it, and this is something we try to do in Blues Funeral as well. Is I really like hearing other bands' interpretations of classics and things that are a little bit more obscure, but still classics to our scene. People like us who actually know what the fuck it is, and I really like hearing it, through their lens, if you will, because you can see how it influenced them, and you can tell how it influences us. So there's kind of this kinship there as well.
Excuse me.
You okay?
Yeah. I'm getting emotional. It's hard. Yeah, I really just can't. So that's my favorite phrase, and every time I say it, I hate myself a little bit more. So I do it a lot. It's one of those things I'm working on mentally in my brain to not say, and she'll get on to me for saying that shit. See, she's writing down the timestamp to where she can cut all this out because I don't know what I'm doing because we're just terrible amateurs.
Husband talking. Final.
Yeah, this guy's dumb. Make sure this gets cut out. It sounds terrible. So you've finished recording your album. It is off to be mastered.
Yes, as of today, actually, I think we finished final mixes. What's going on, man? See it? We finished final mixes yesterday. Jan went in and tweaked a few things that needed to get done just to bring it to perfection and our standard of excellence. And I've sent it off to Colin Jordan in Chicago. Colin, I don't think he's really a household name, but this guy's name in terms of mastering has been on some really badass shit. He's mastered Living with the Ancients, Blood Ceremony. I don't know if you're familiar with that band from Canada. If not, you should be. It's kind of like Black Sabbath and Jethro Tull fucked, and then had like a really hot daughter who like sings, plays flute, and plays organ all at the same time.
That's amazing talent right there.
It's pretty sweet.
I mean, they may have used the surrogate.
It's possible.
Because
yeah,
they're all guys,
but that's kind of what happened.
Well,
But
when you're talking about Black Sabbath and Jethro Tull, there's like kind of a mysticism behind it. So like they may not have needed a surrogate; it may have just magically happened.
Well,
I mean, I don't know.
You know that for like 5 minutes, Tony Iommi was in Tull.
Right. I did actually know that.
5 minutes. He played like one gig before he decided, you know what, my heart's not in this. I'm going to go start the heaviest band on the face of the earth called Black Sabbath.
You know what? Your flute sucks. I'm going to go start this genre called heavy metal, and you're going to just wait. It's going to be fucking amazing, and everyone's going to love it.
But the flute was bad.
Oh, I do. I have a copy of Aqualung on vinyl at the house, and that entire record is phenomenal. I can't say I've really listened to anything else other than that. My stepmother, before she passed, God bless her, we used to go to her place, my father's place, and they introduced us to Black Sabbath. Thank you. Metallica and Jethro Tull, and we used to listen to those on vinyl. So I called up my father, and she's been dead for 16 years. And I was like, "Hey, man, do you have these old vinyl copies of Laurie's old records? I'd like them because in the 90s, records died, and my dad said we got rid of all that shit because you couldn't get replacement parts for your turntable without being outrageously expensive, and you couldn't get replacement needles and whatever." And
now the hipsters brought them back.
Right, yeah, now it's back, and I was real bummed out because I would love to have had her original copy. Sadly, God only knows what happened to it.
So Bruce Dickinson did a badass cover of Jerusalem that Jethro Tull did as well. There's actually a live version of Jethro Tull playing it with Bruce Dickinson in some fucking cathedral or something.
Holy shit! I'm gonna have to get a hold of that.
It's an amazing song, just as a tango.
Yeah.
So for
anyway,
God damn it, I said so.
So I mean, he's done that. He's done the Blood Ceremony. He's done some I Hate God. He did a couple of Gates of Slumber.
Really, he worked with I Hate God.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Not Mystium. I'm not of the Judeo-Christian persuasion, but there's a band called Woven Hand. They actually played here at Rudd's. They're sort of mystical, man. I don't know how else to describe their
folky.
sound.
It is kind of
it's
folky.
kind of folky and mystical, but he did one of their records. Really good shit. Like, normally, I personally would never advocate listening to that kind of music, but you should. It's really good.
I'm going to advocate for it right now.
I'm going to advocate for it right now.
Music is music.
Music is music. When it's done well, it doesn't really matter what the fuck you're talking
Just
about.
because Satanists and atheists make the best music doesn't mean
Yeah, what is up with that? Like, I really don't understand why that is. But I would definitely agree with you on that. Tell me a little bit about Blues Funeral. We have an interview scheduled for next week, which I'm super excited
On my
about.
birthday.
On your birthday. You have to work real hard. You'll be fine. tell me a little bit about Blues Funeral and why you guys started doing Blues Funeral.
I'll let y'all start that off, man. I mean, this was his vision.
Quick and easy. We don't have to get super in depth. We've got maybe like 8 more minutes or so.
Oh.
We can get more into this when we do the interview. But
Okay.
you guys are great. I love Blues Funeral. You guys know that I'm a big fan. I love what
Thanks,
you do.
man.
Yes. And I love you guys too for what you do. No, for fucking putting the spotlight on little old us. But basically, we were in Sanctus Bellum together, and Sanctus Bellum had some really good shows, and we played some really cool festivals and shit. But in November of 14, we went on a little hiatus for personal reasons, and Maurice and I had been talking for years about doing something that was more melodic, more 70s oriented, where we would have a little bit more of a say, and I could bust out my keyboard as well. Really, it's his keyboard, but he plays it.
But he plays it, yeah.
And so when Sanctus Bellum went on hiatus, we actually fairly quickly kind of met. We recruited Corey Cousins, the drummer from Sanctus Bellum, and we started looking at bass players. Corey got his master's in music from Carnegie Mellon.
Lord.
He's a badass like that.
Yeah, he is a badass
Yeah,
like that.
And one of the guys who went to school with, Gabe Katz, who's our current bass player, also got his master's in bass, obviously. So we started playing with him, and musically, not like sexual way.
Oh, I just assumed that was. I assumed that was just like you didn't have to know that was going on. It's something that's happening, and we just don't bring it up.
We're not gonna fuck a dude until we're pretty happy with how he makes us sound.
So you have standards,
Yeah.
which is great.
More or less.
You need
So-
standards
so
when
I
it comes
think
to
the first
fucking.
practice, we had everyone learn "Sunshine of Your Love" just so we could jam on it, and then we started on this song called "The Search." We had both had our first songs ready, but we decided on "The Search" to be first because it was a little easier to just. It was just a couple riffs, just more of a groove improvisation thing. So we got that down, and then we did "Autumn Dream." And so our first show was at the Revention Center. Our friend Tiffany got it for us playing a roller derby.
Is
actually.
Revention
It used to be
is
Verizon.
that's the one that's off of Texas downtown?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Right next to the Hard Rock Cafe.
Yes.
Probably the biggest first show I've ever played because there were 500-600 people there. It was fucking crazy. The place is gigantic. And then we played shows at Fitz and Ruds and stuff like that. And we played with more and more illustrious bands, Venomous Maximus, Hellstar, Night Demon, etc. More recently, we played with Marty Friedman.
That was an excellent show. We were there. Really enjoyed that show a lot.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, and the Search was a song kind of about my various searching for various things in life, but also I think searching for our sound, because Maurice loves the old school shit, but his guitar playing and his style is maybe a little more new school. Me, I'm a little more of an old fart in terms of it. So when we blend our shit together, that's I think what makes the core of Blues Funeral. Is that I've got the Hammond organ and all that stuff, and I really love kind of more of an old school like Marshall-y tone, whereas Maurice has a little bit of a trebly or harder edge tone. So when you mix those together, it could be a recipe for disaster, but we play off of each other so well that when you blend it together, we think it actually sounds pretty cool.
As somebody who has seen both of your bands live, I saw Sanctus Bellum for the first time open for Pentagram, I do believe a couple of years ago. Andrew, you invited me to that show. I didn't even know fucking Pentagram was still doing shit. I thought they were just dead and gone. And it was Sanctus Bellum, Venomous Maximus, and I believe Pentagram. I think that was the lineup. And yes, and you two, like your stage presence, the way you work together on stage is phenomenal. Like you can see the charisma between both of you. Because with Sanctus Bellum, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you guys kind of trade off. Like you kind of solo it up, you solo it up, you guys.
That's still very much the approach in Blues Funeral.
Right. And so that charisma on stage is, I remember like, holy shit. And I went over to y'all's merch booth and bought, I think, what's the first album called? Return to Dust, which is one of the best Doom albums you have never listened to, and I highly recommend you find it. We will be playing some tunes off of it on Texas Metal Radio 4, Southern Haze, which should be out at the end of July or maybe sooner. I don't really know. Depends on how hard I push myself.
Or me, because,
Shh. Don't listen to her. She just hangs out.
I would say with Sanctus Bellum, so Sanctus Bellum is definitely Ben Yeager's, the bass player and founder, his creative baby. and Ben and the singer Justin would take the two center spots on stage. Me and Maurice would always flank. I would usually be on the left. He'd usually be on the right, and then Corey on the drums behind us. So even though a lot of the stuff we wrote together, a lot of the harmonies and shit, we wrote for it to be less trade-offy and more in tandem. It just the way that the dynamic was, it was always Ben and Justin at the front, kind of manhandling the crowd and us to the side. But in Blues Funeral, we definitely made sure that we would be kind of up front, and then we could, since we're physically together, it really makes a huge difference when you're physically closer. You can actually do that stuff. And since we're not like Iron Maiden, where we can play a gigantic stage and run around with wireless units, the physical proximity actually makes a difference.
About 10 feet.
And how often do you and Maurice get physical? Is that something that...
Daily, weekly?
Honestly, it's how often do we not get
Can I butt in for a second?
Yeah, go right ahead, Andrew,
I didn't
please.
know you guys could sing as well as you do until I saw you guys play with Blues Funeral.
Yeah, well,
I saw
that's
Sink the Spell on numerous times.
Yeah.
And
well, Sink the Spell and Ben had like a specific vision for the vocals. That's why he recruited Justin. Justin has been playing and still is playing in Mr. Cloud, which is a huge fixture in the Houston stoner kind of fuzz rock scene.
We just played them on Texas Metal Radio 2, I believe.
And our drummer and Ben was actually in Mr. Cloud for a little bit.
played Jitsu.
And Corey is now the drummer in Mr. Cloud as well. So, Ben had the specific vision for the vocals, and so I would sing some harmonies and shit, but really it was Justin doing the main vocal stuff. But then in Blues Funeral, again, since we're more into kind of a operatic, old school, harmonized vocal treatment, a la Cream, Deep Purple, that type of shit. That's why that was another reason we wanted to found Deep Purple.
Maurice and Young, founders of Deep Purple.
You heard it here first, motherfucker. We said, Blackmore, get out. We were
negative 25 years old when it happened. Yes.
Well,
Coverdale still sends me a Christmas card.
I would love to talk to you more about Blues Funeral, but we do have we do have an interview scheduled, so let's keep.
God damn it!
Thank you guys for talking about the Doomstress EP.
Absolutely.
If you're listening to this show, it is hopefully this is the day the EP is released and you can get a hold of it.
Yeah.
And
come talk to one of us.
Thank you guys very much. We'll talk to you this coming weekend, and we will have a fucking excellent time.
Fuck yeah.
So we're sitting here with Doomstress Alexis and Brandon. I didn't think we would have you guys on the show so soon again after your first episode with Project Armageddon, but
Yeah, still sorry about that one.
You snuck away and you worked on a secret project, and once again we're talking to some great people about some great music.
Mm-hmm.
So
We're not starting a special secret cookbook.
Nope.
no secret cookbooks, although that would be
Well, I'm
really
excited
nice.
now. Who are we talking about?
Well, Brandon posting all the food.
All the food.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
look at
Yeah,
all
the
these
bear
delicious
claws,
donuts
the
and all these
donuts.
amazing things going on.
Oh yes, while the secret project was being done.
Man, I tell you, I think we went through probably 6 dozen donuts, but these weren't like small, little bitty little donuts. They were freaking huge donuts.
Yeah, I saw the
And
pictures.
chupacabra
yes.
and the squatch pie. Yeah, oh my
And
gosh.
probably about
I mean,
10 gallons of coffee. Yeah.
It was
in 3
nonstop.
weeks.
Yeah,
and
it was
just
So
crazy. Yes.
massive donuts and ass
coffee.
tons of coffee
Yes.
fueled the Doomstress EP that we
Yes.
just listened to.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a
And
little grease in there too.
what fueled the break away from Project Armageddon to go and do this new project, which is similar but strikingly different in so many ways?
Well, even when I started, as Project Armageddon was forming, I wanted to do something different, and from that, as Project Armageddon was going, I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I want to do another project that's going to be more just what I want to do, focused, basically around me. Hence, it's Doomstress, and I'm Doomstress Alexis. So it was like that was kind of cultivated years ago in the early stages of Project Armageddon. I was just like, eventually it'll happen. I want to continue being creative and exploring different avenues and be able to do my own thing, whereas Project Armageddon was a collective of us three, myself, Brandon, and Raymond. So Doomstress was more like, hey, this is what I want to do here, visually, musically, just the whole package. And it was like, Brandon, after he started hearing some of the stuff I was doing, he was like, hey, I'd like to be involved in that. And I was like, well, I was hoping you'd want to be involved in it, because I love working with Brandon, and I love his guitar playing, and I knew he'd be able to, him having worked together now for 12 years, something like that, I don't know, maybe more, with the previous two, with Project Armageddon and the band before that, it was like we read each other really good, we write really well together, and we both had a desire to do something different, and it was just, the timing was right for us to do this.
So Brandon was always your first choice when coming... Fuck, I didn't say. I said that shittily. Write down the note.
Just talk.
So Brandon was your first choice in guitar player when you decided to embark on this new project.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to work with Brandon. So, and I was hoping he would want to be part of it. So.
And what's the major difference between Project Armageddon and Doomstress?
Not to say the stuff's more rocking, not so progressive. It's a little bit simpler, but not in a, you say simple and it's like kind of gives it a bad thing, but it's more rocking. People can get into it more. That's my thing.
A lot more groove into it. Heavy groove, and that's something that Project Armageddon is more. It's doom, but it's also more metal with a lot of the progressive elements into it, and so this has definitely got a little bit more groove-oriented vibe to it. Straightforward, just kind of. We've got the slow doomy parts, but then it's got the nice chugs that just hooks that catch you and just make you groove. So I mean,
right, and I think it's something that will come across better at the live show, because I can get more into it, because I'm not having to sit here and think, all right, where the fuck am I in this song? It's like this stuff I can just really get into it and just like, all right, let's fucking just rock out, So I think it's going to be a great thing, So.
Yeah, most everyone we've spoken to today about the Doomstress EP has been most excited to hear y'all live. Mm-hmm. And when do you have a live show in Houston anytime soon?
I don't know if I can officially announce it yet, but I'm going to, because I know you talked to Tobin already for the Independent Festival. We're going to be playing Independent Festival October 22nd.
And I thought you had said that when we had talking personally.
It hasn't been officially put up on the site yet, but strike that. Yeah.
Sorry, we've been drinking a little bit today, and we've been talking A lot of people.
Yes.
And I remember when we had spoken before, and I see you guys everywhere because you guys are all over the music scene. Almost every show I go to, you're there, and I don't know how you do it.
I don't either, and I'm like, how the fuck did I just do that this past week? Because this is like 3 nights in a row I've been at shows, and Brandon would have been out for 3 nights in a row, but he went to a bachelor party for Maurice from a band. So they had their own kind of crazy show.
I heard it was a little. I heard that bachelor party did get a little bit crazy. We spoke to Maurice a little earlier about Blues Funeral and a little bit of Sanctus Bellum, and we secured a Blues Funeral interview, which I've been most excited for since I started the Texas Metal Show.
On my birthday.
Her birthday weekend is next weekend, and we have a rare 3-day week. I almost always have 3-day weekends because I only work 60 hours a week, which I love.
Only.
Yeah, only. Oh, I'm sorry, a week. I'm 60 hours every 2 weeks. I apologize. I said that wrong. So I only work 30 hours a week, which is great. And we never have the weekend off together. She's getting up 4:30 in the morning going to work, and so
once again, I want to say thank you, Laura, for taking a day off to be here.
Woo!
Yeah, she did it. Yeah, I was really. I told her
I couldn't believe that. I was just like, wow.
We weren't sure. We were not sure originally if she was going to be able to make it. And we were like, man, you gotta come. And she's like, fuck, I want to be there. And she just straight up told her boss, hey, I'm either leaving early or taking the day off. So whichever you choose. And your boss loves you. And he said, oh, just fucking take the day off. Yep. Well, I wish everybody could do that.
Laura motherfucking rock.
Excuse me. So we have her birthday weekend is next weekend, and we've got the Scourge scheduled for the 2nd.
Awesome.
We've got Blues Funeral scheduled for the 3rd. Nice. And we have a tentative interview with Peasant on the 4th, which
could be just Jeff.
50-50. Yeah, we're not really sure. I'm going to contact him about that today.
But it'd be good. They need to do it because they got a tour coming up and a tour kickoff show.
And they're writing new music. They just released a new single. I'm not sure what it's called, but I'm excited to get a copy of it when we see them on their kickoff show, which Project Armageddon will be playing.
Yeah, that'll be Project Armageddon's last show for the scheduled show for the year. So.
So what's the plan for Project Armageddon? Is that I know Raymond, your drummer, is recently married the last few months. He's recently newly fathered second child.
Yeah,
which we talked a little bit about on our very first episode. Does that have anything to do with you guys kind of putting Project Armageddon on the back burner?
A little bit. It was Ray was kind of like not in a position where he couldn't really tour right now, and that's where we're at is like we want to tour. So it was like the creative time was here. It was just it was like everything kind of came to a head. It was like we wanted to express something differently artistically as musicians, get this other thing going. My focus has really been on this, wanting to do something different, write something different, and the want to tour more extensively. It just kind of all just culminated in like, okay, well, this is what we're gonna have to have happen for the rest of this year, and so. That's it. So, yeah, we have 3 Project Armageddon shows this year. We did the Person show, we did the Castle show, and then we're doing the Peasant Kickoff show, which is my birthday weekend.
Ooh, that's going to be really good. Peasant puts on a great live show.
Yeah.
Rudyards British Pub. You heard it here. Come to Rudyards British Pub, goddammit.
That's why we're having the EP listening party, and y'all here, because Rudyards is the place. I mean, lots of great clubs around Houston, for sure. You know, but Rudyards is just like a home. You know, we played our first like inner city show here at Rudyards with Royal Thunder and Venomous Maximus about.
Oh man.
I don't even know how many years ago that was now.
Like, it was a few.
Yeah, yeah, like probably like 5 years ago, something like that. You know, and so yes, yes.
Yeah, without a doubt, this is my favorite place to play.
It's my favorite venue.
Yeah,
it's not my favorite place to load in and out of.
Yeah, well, that stair, loading up the stairs, I can only imagine it gets a little bit different.
Loading in sucks, but if you do it right, loading out is great. You don't have to worry about it because you'll
slide it down the stairs,
and you'll feel no pain.
We didn't know what we were getting into with the Doomstress EP when you had contacted me. Before you had even left for Ohio, correct? You guys went to Ohio?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You had contacted me and you were like, hey, we're kind of working on this project that's coming up. I can't give you any details because I don't have them, but when I have them, I'll get them to pay attention to some of the news coming. And I remember, I was like, oh shit, Laura, look, fucking Alexis is, like every time you message me, I get excited because I know it's going to be something good.
Then we started making up our own scenarios, like, what's she doing?
Yeah, we were brainstorming on figuring out what's going on, because maybe a new Project Armageddon album is going out, or maybe they're going to, like, make some kind of ska band. We really just didn't know. And so when we listened to this album, I did not expect 2 covers to be on the EP, and it was a wonderful surprise because, first of all, I'm a big Uriah Heep fan, and Rainbow Demon is the first Uriah Heep song I ever heard. And what was the influence behind that? What made you go, hey, you know what, I think we're going to cover some Uriah Heep on this EP?
Well, we took a trip to Florida over like right before New Year's to go visit some of my family, my grandma and my uncle and aunt, and then go out to Fort Lauderdale for a couple days too. And on the drive out there, like, we had the album, Wizards and Demons by Uriah Heep, and that song came on, and we were both kind of like, I think I was driving, and it was just like, something was like, the song passed, and it was kind of like, we were both like, even though music was still playing, there was just kind of like this silence, and then we were just kind of like, I was like, that'd be a cool song to cover for Doomstress.
That whole album is
it's
phenomenal.
Great. So it was like, but we were both just like, we should do that. And so that was it, and it was like, okay, let's do that one. That'll be cool. We wanted to, with Project Armageddon, we never really did. We did a couple covers live. The last record we put out, the Judas Priest one, but which is vastly different. But I don't know what really fueled it. It was like my idea was just like, I wanted to do something small, and I wanted to take some songs that are going to kind of feed into a lot of our influences for this project, so people can be like, oh, okay, well, here's these originals. Where are these originals from? What's feeding this different sound, and I guess bringing those covers in kind of like lets people know a little bit, like, okay, well, this is where they're coming from now on this project. We're tapping into these other influences that we have. So.
On the Doomstress EP, you also covered Wicked Woman by Coven, which I'm not personally familiar with. Did that cover kind of come about the same way? Traveling down to Florida, listening to the cover, or was this like premeditated, something you wanted to do?
It was something I had wanted to do for a long time, and there's like, I haven't been able to really find anybody that's done any covers of Coven, and the songs from '69, and they're a band that's got a lot of underground cult status, in the cult rock, vintage rock, the stoner scene, the doom scene. But the music, nobody's really redone it, and I wanted to take that and kind of make it heavy and make it doom, because it has a old school kind of like pop rock sound to it, and so we wanted to bring it into modern times and add our twist to it. Came in a lot different than I was initially anticipating it. I was like wanting to do more like the original, but as we were recording it, it was like, this isn't working for us. Brandon was like pretty frustrated, I guess. He's like,
honestly, I was not a fan of the original song. I thought the musicianship on it was just, I think they just sat around, got stoned, and like, hey, let's go fucking record this song.
That could be either good or bad.
Yeah, well, it turned out, in my opinion, pretty bad. And I was like, well, this bass line is pretty cool, though. So we kind of turned that into the main riff. But, it turned out, I think it turns out so much better than the original song. It's just...
Well, that's what you're looking for with a cover. You don't want to sound like the cover. You want to be like this amazing...
But to me, the original was crap. The only saving grace for it was the vocals.
Jinx. And that's what it was based around, was Jinx vocals, for sure. The production on it. And I think back at their time when they were doing it, they just didn't have a lot of time to put into production on that record.
I'm sure that played a part in it, too.
Yeah, so it was like probably like one take, probably live for most of the instrumentation, and then just like, all right, let's lay down the vocals.
Yeah,
and
she's going to be the focal point, so we'll just focus on that.
And I was a big fan of the song, so I actually had a problem when we were recording it, though, and it changed because it was like, all right, this is different than the original. I'm so used to the original. and that's kind of what I had in my mind. And now all of a sudden I've got to like kind of learn to sing it a little bit differently and play it differently. And I was kind of nervous. I was like, people are going to hate this now, because it's like taking this cult status underground band and song and changing and doing it. But the reviews that we've had have been great for it. So, and everybody that's listened to it has been like, that sounds awesome, and really liked how we brought it into the Doom fold with the song, made it heavier and fit the time. So
sorry. If you only knew what was going on in my brain, you would all be laughing too.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a real... I don't know if anyone would want to actually be there. When it comes to writing a Project Armageddon song, you guys write together. Is that correct?
Probably not. No. We probably go out individually and just bring riffs to the band, and then
you all. And I guess when I say write together, I mean you bring your own individual style to Project Armageddon.
Yeah.
And reading, I followed what the secret project that was talked about on Facebook greatly without giving any details while you were in Ohio. I followed any information I could get because I wanted to know. I really wanted to know what you guys were doing.
Oh, we theorized.
There was a lot at Wolf House Studio. There was a lot of talk about what they're doing in Ohio and what we're going to get, because we've gotten
a lot of that from a lot of people, and and that was some of the mystique was that we wanted to kind of build that buzz among the fan base that we had.
You did a really good job.
Thank you.
Because I remember Brandon posting something saying along the lines of like, I'm never going to let Alexis write a guitar solo again because my fingers are blistered and this is driving me crazy. Something like that. I don't remember exactly what you had said. Yeah. So with Doomstress, with the original songs that you wrote, which are Way of the Mountain and Sleep Among the Dead, did you take 90% of the songwriting and say, hey guys, this is what I want to do?
Yeah.
So unlike Project Armageddon, where you got together and talked about different ideas, you sat down and said, look guys, this is what I want and this is what I want.
Pretty much, for that. I was like, it wasn't like I wasn't a dictator about it, like this is it. But it was like, here's what I have, and I want to work it around this. And so we had to, because we did most of this in the studio, like writing it out and arranging it and stuff. I had a basis for it. Some of the stuff is like, okay, we're gonna have to play that in a slightly different timing or framing and stuff, or a little faster, a little slower to make it really work for the song here. Come up with a couple little transitions and stuff. So I'd say like 90% of it, the music was for the originals, was written by me, and then Brandon threw in a couple riffs and transition stuff, and then like the outro verse riffs on Sleep Among the Dead were Brandon, and then I think with that third verse riff on Way of the Mountain, I think you came up with too. It's a variation riff, and and then that was stuff that was kind of like came up in the studio. It was like, all right, we're trying to work this part. What I had didn't necessarily work right. We had the idea, and so one of the reasons, again, why I like working with Brandon, he knows, we've worked together so well for so long now, is that he kind of is like, I think I see what you're trying to do here, but here, he just throws something out and just like, here, how about this? And it's like, fuck yeah, yeah, the Riffian.
Brandon gets it.
Yeah. So
Doomstress is a 3-piece.
4-piece.
A 4-piece? I'm sorry, I was looking at the picture on the back.
Right,
I only see 3
the
people.
recording was 3-piece. Brandon did all the guitar pieces, but there's dual guitars, and so we're going to have another guitarist filling in for us. So our buddy Joe, who plays in Sparrow Milk with Tom, who did the drums and recording, they're also in a band. They're in Sparrow Milk and Venom and James together, and then Joe is also the new, I don't know if I can say this, but the new bass player for Ancient Wisdom.
And how did you get involved with those two?
I'll just say it. Well, Tom, the drummer, he's my older brother.
Right.
So, yes. So I don't throw that out at first because I want to get people's honest opinions on the music, drums, things like that. I want people going like, oh, well, that was, I want to get people's legitimate feedback on things and stuff. So, this was the first time me and my brother got to do a recording project together, and it was just awesome. The longest time we got to spend together in like 20 years, so it was really cool. But he's been like my biggest influence musically forever. So
older brothers do that.
And my older brother Michael, which I've talked about on the show once or twice, is for me. Without him, I wouldn't like metal.
Right.
I mean, I may have, but he was the person that brought that John Schaefer, Hansi Kirsch, Demons and Wizards, which would lead me into the Uriah Heep because it's named after that album. Without him, there would be nothing. And you maintain a good relationship with your brother.
Yeah.
And working... How do I ask this properly? Working with your brother was something that you wanted to do? Like, when you wanted to start Doomstress, you were like, okay, man, I know that I want to work with my brother on this project, or was that something that came later?
Initially, it wasn't set in stone. In the back of my mind, I always wanted to, it was like, it'd be wonderful to have the opportunity to work with my brother on something.
Actually, what happened when we were on tour at Project Armageddon, we actually were fortunate enough to play a show with Sparrow Milk, and I've always known Tom as like a guitar player. I've never seen him play drums before. So after that show and seeing him with Sparrow Milk, I was like, damn, he's a fucking good drummer. It's like, I really want to record with this dude or just jam with him, And
I think it was kind of after that show, I was kind of like, because during the last tour and the last year, I'd already been talking with Brandon about this a little bit, and we were both kind of like, I think you mentioned to me like, hey, what do you think about having your brother, Tom, do drums for this other project? And I'm like, I think that'd be badass, So, and then I mentioned it to my brother, and he was like fully stoked about doing that and working with us and being a part of it. So,
where does Doomstress go from here? What's the plan for Doomstress for the rest of the year? Do you guys are you currently working on new material for a first album?
Yeah, we've got a lot of material. We were limited in our time with what we wanted to focus on recording. We were like, all right, here's the songs we're going to do, and let's just get in this time. Let's do this. So, August and September we're doing our Wicked Summer tour up in the Midwest, Northeast. We're going to be doing. We're going to go up to Cleveland, rehearse for a little bit with Tom and Joe, and then we're going to be doing Indianapolis. We're headlining the first night of Tennessee Sludge Fest right outside Nashville and Murfreesboro.
That sounds excellent.
Yeah, so the other headliners are Place of Skulls and Shroud Eater, and so it was like really cool. And I was like really honored that they considered us for a headliner, and
we would have just been pleased opening the show.
Yeah,
we didn't expect.
So that was a nice surprise there, and then we're playing Louisville, Kentucky. We've got a date in there. Then we're gonna have a few days off. Based back in Cleveland, we're gonna do some more recording. We're working on a new song. And then do another kind of weekend tour gigs, do some more recording, and then the following weekend go out. We're going to do like 3 or 4 days with Mangog from out there in the East Coast area, and go tour up around that area, Maryland, Philly, and New York. Is what we're currently trying to book in and stuff. So, and then. So that's our current plans for the summer, and then we're setting up another tour for probably like 5 or 6 states, and probably in the southern region for November. So
there's a big plan for Doomstress.
Yeah,
Doomstress is really going to be pushed, and you are working on it heavily, which is awesome. And I can't wait to sit down and listen to this EP and get it on. I work alone, so I listen to a lot of music. So I can't wait to actually sit down and listen to it, because once through listening to it one time with a group of people is really hard for me to get a grasp of what the EP is all about. For people listening to the show who don't know me personally and may not follow my own personal Facebook page, which I don't recommend because I'm a fucking weirdo, I know you guys, I've gotten to know both of you very well over the last couple of years. At least I'd like to think we see each other at fucking every show we go to. Right. And you, Alexis, have specifically talked about maybe not playing Houston so much. It's something that you've brought up before. And I've never really asked the reasoning behind that. Is there a reason you want to branch out and play other places?
Well, I mean, I love Houston. And the scene here is great. We have an awesome scene. There's so many great bands, so many great clubs, so many great fans and people. But it's like you can only play locally so much. I don't want to be just a local band,
right?
I don't want to be just a regional band. I want to be a band, that's really pushing myself and getting out. And the only way to do that and really push yourself is to get out there. So, you can't sit around and just wait and like, oh, cool, I'm going to be the next big thing with a song or something like that. That doesn't, very rarely, if ever, does that happen. The reality is you have to get out there and reach another audience. And it's just like getting out on the road like this last time, it was like it had been too long. It's like getting out there and it's just like, I love it. It's grueling and brutal. It's not a fairy tale plush living. You're like in a box driving for hours. You get to a place, you load in, you sit around, you eat some food, you have some drinks, you play, meet people, and then you load up and you do it all again. And it's not, a fantastical lifestyle, but it's awesome, and I love it. It's freedom just to go out there and just do your music. But I want to take it out there, meet people, meet other bands, and see different parts of the country and world. Hopefully, eventually, if things go well and people like Doomstress and we get more, international fans and. But yeah, so I just want to get out there and just do that and hit the road and hit all these different avenues and marketplaces, because that's really what you need to do to expand yourself and get beyond just being a local band. It's just you have to tour.
So the Destroyer of Light from Austin.
Yes.
Which is one of my favorite bands. With our second episode of Texas Metal Radio, there's a Destroyer of Light shirt staring me in the face right across the table, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. They just last month or maybe the month before left on their, I think it was a West Coast tour. We talked a little bit about it on Texas Metal Radio 2 or 1. One, I don't fucking remember.
Yes, 1.
I can't even remember how many fucking shows we've done.
Yeah.
So if you're in a band and you were listening to this show, from what you have just said, you have to get out there and you have to tour away from your hometown, or nobody's gonna.
Yeah, I mean, there's the avenues that you can get out a little bit, but it's like it's really to really try to make a name for yourself and get your music out there is touring. I mean, you look at music sales, it's like it's
in the shitter for sure.
Yeah.
Is that how a band makes their money? Going out on tour and playing different shows?
I mean, you don't make a lot of money, initially, but eventually, hopefully, selling merch, that helps you and stuff. But
Just get your name out there.
Exactly.
Right,
it gets your name out there, you get broader markets and stuff, and then eventually you build up fan bases in these different regions, and, because they could have your music, but it's just like the thing, it's like you go see a band live and you're like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. But you don't get that when you're just like, who's this band that's across the country? I heard a song of theirs, but you don't have that connection with them. But if you tour, you get to connect. You get that chance to connect with those people. So
if you're a band and you were listening to this episode, fucking go out and tour, spend the extra money to do it.
I mean, you start small. You do you do a little regional tour. Exactly. It's if you really legitimately want to do this and make it, you've got to do that. So, but you start out small. You do like little regional areas, neighboring areas, and then you get further and further out. So
one last thing before we go, because we are running out of time. We don't want to hold anybody up. We have heard about what's going on with Doomstress in the future. Project Armageddon is still something you are focused on, maybe not right this moment, and you guys still have albums coming up and material working for Project Armageddon?
Yes.
So, Project Armageddon fans out there, don't worry, Doomstress is not going to take over, and we will get a little bit more.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you guys inviting us. When I got the message of you asking us to bring Texas Metal Show to this listening party, I woke up and I looked at my phone and I was like, oh my god, Lord, look, Alexis just texted me and like, we're going to go do this show. I really appreciate you thinking about us and pushing us out there. It's really fucking awesome of you.
Like everything I try to do, I try to involve as many people as I can to make connections. It's not just about me or us, or our band. It's about a community.
Building a community
exactly.
where you're mutually beneficial to everyone.
You're looking for bands. There are bands that were going to be here, and it's like, hey, you meet these people, and I know it's off your normal format that you've been in, where you kind of go meet a band and interview them, but it's like, I thought it was just a great opportunity, and to bring in like Tobin from Independent Festival, and then Stacy from Rudyards itself, and and then like Rick Custer from the Houston Metal Project, photography project and stuff, and just different people just to, like, oh, cool! All these people are going to be right here. Let's do something to introduce them all, and everybody gets something out of that, and can expand from there.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show once again, and
Absolutely.
I look forward to having you on the show in the future.
Right,
Thanks so
thank
much. We really appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
I was just going to shout.
And it's gone.
I want to extend a big thank you to Doomstress for inviting us to this event. We had an excellent time hanging out, talking to people, having a couple of drinks on a Sunday, listening to some great music. If you enjoyed any of the music you heard today on the show, please go to doomstress.bigcartel.com and pick up a copy of the new EP. It's excellent. You will not be disappointed. I want to say thank you to the Mydolls, Blues Funeral, the Dirty Seeds, Tobin from the Independent Music Festival for talking to us. It's always great seeing you guys. Stay tuned. We have quite a few episodes dropping this month. On the 30th, we have our interview episode with Blues Funeral coming out alongside their CD release show at Rudyards British Pub. If you have the night open, come check these guys out. You're going to love them. If you have any questions, comments, hate mail, or you'd like to see your band featured on the show, please send us an email at texasmetalshow@gmail.com. And to the Brotherhood, with what writes the pain, I'm staring right back at myself, and through its frozen image, I'm laughing right back at my health. I am a lifer, and always hail Dimebag.